nightly.
Don't believe the hype show. Don't believe the hype show. Don't believe the hype show.
I'm laughing because I'm here today with a wonderful lady. But before we get into the show, you have not seen me on here for some months because of my car accident. So I wasn't able to come on because of the trauma that I was experiencing. You are now going to see a new show, a new version of the Don't Believe the Hype show. And I'm so excited because we're going to have some amazing women who are going to come onto our show and share their experience with what they are doing in the community and what they are doing, not just in the community, what God has done for them in their lives. Today we have got Salketti. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself. I still have a little bit of numbness in my mouth, so if you see some of my words go up, it's because of that reason. Also, everything that we make from the Don't Believe the Hype show, it helps us to further the cause of the Purple Light Touch Foundation. We are a 501c3 foundation, and we are always looking for sponsors and donors who will come in and help us to grow our organization, because this is a worldwide place that I know that God is going to take far and wide. And so without further ado, we are going to introduce Miss Salketti to you. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself and why we are on here today. Thank you for joining us today, Miss Salketti.
Thank you for having me, Valerie. I really do appreciate it. A little bit about me, very, very simple. I've been mostly in ministry full-time. I'm a counselor, a master's degree counselor, and also I have a master's in theology. So understanding, I would say, people is one of my greatest gifts.
Okay.
And I work very well with people. And for some reason, people tell me just about everything I want to know in reference to them. They've always felt comfortable. And that's how I knew it was a God-given talent and a God-given gift. But also in that, I've always had this desire about health and healing and eating right or dressing right, exercising right. All of these things just always matter to me, because I really believe that generational curses can literally be eradicated if we choose to do so.
Right.
And if you also have to be aware of what they are also, and be able to admit that this runs in my family. So let me see, what is the process of getting it out? So that's my thing, getting people out of that place of denial and really accepting what is and then changing what is into what God says it should be.
And so as you can see, it's Women's History Month. So we're going to talk a little bit about women's history, things that women need to understand. And this show is mainly about understanding our bodies as women.
Yes.
And understanding the hair and the industry that is taking over the world right now. And a lot of us are not understanding what our body should be or it should feel like, because no one's not telling us about our body.
Exactly.
And so I just gave Salketti and massage earlier on today, one I should never had before. And I will put on some of the videos on my YouTube channel, and also you'll see some of the videos on the Facebook page. So Salketti, tell the audience a little bit about your experience with me today.
It was indeed an experience. I've had, when someone tells you they do deep tissue,
yes,
I think there needs to be another description of your deep tissue massage, because they associate it with what they see in the world, what everybody else does in the relaxation massage industry, those that say they do medical, that they don't, and those that say they do lymphatic type of massages. It does not compare. I've looked at the pamphlet. I've worked with a friend that have lymphatic problems throughout her body, especially her lower abdomen area. And so they did none of what I even saw today in the process of, they rub lightly. And what I went through, you all, was pain and suffering for what the body had not been accustomed to.
That's right.
And I just, this is not something you can do one time and think it's okay. This is something that should become a lifestyle to people so that they can move better. They told me I needed surgery in my shoulder for a torn rotary cuff, and I have full movement that I didn't have. I didn't have backwards movement. I didn't have movement that would move me here. And after that, I should be moving everywhere. I should be jumping. No, but I am jumping, and my foot even hurt. My ankle was hurting because I kept saying, I have arthritis in that ankle. And you said, well, we're not going to deal with Arthur. You only need one man. And so we started laughing. I said, one man, yeah. You can get rid of Arthur and just keep the one you got. So, but it's those kind of things that women just don't know. And a very small margin of people really understand what they need to do to the body to keep the body healthy. That's why I see some women that are 85. Why are they still upright? Why are they still walking? Why they still have all that? And I see all the rest of them in certain areas or certain, I would say, people with different races. You see certain races, they're more broken than others.
Yes.
Why is that? Who hasn't told them what I've learned today? Because I've never heard some of the things I've heard today.
You see, I had to ask God to give me this gift. This didn't just come from school. I do a lot of studying.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than go home and watch TV, I'm always learning, because you've always got to learn, because the Bible tells you knowledge, you need to always increase your knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's what I tend to do a lot of. But most of my clientele are people who have got the residual income, who want to keep on working, who's self-employed, and who knows that health benefits of taking care of their body so they don't have to rely on their health insurance. And we as African American and the Hispanic race, we don't think so much about our bodies. We mainly want to think more about the Michael Kors pearls, looking good on the outside, the Neiman Marcus, going to Papa Do's and spending your money, not realizing that you cannot spend your money if you haven't got a good body in the first place. Exactly. Because when you're sick, that purse don't mean nothing. Papa Do's don't mean nothing.
Not at all.
You see what I'm saying? Because health has no value until sickness comes. And so a lot of times we don't understand the full implication of the body, and that this body belongs to God. We go to church, we sing our praises, whether it's a Saturday, whether it's a Sunday, we come out to church, we've done our bit, and that's it. But that's not how God designed our body. He designed it for us to be on point 24/7. That's why when I had my car accident, I was able to heal my whole body. Why? Because I knew how important this body was to God and how important it was to me. Because if I say I love Jesus, then I've got to love this body.
Because he dwells within there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so when I was explaining to you earlier on, the whole body goes back to the creation story. And that's what they don't tell you. Because you've only got 6 joints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the legs are the same as the hand. That's why you bend your feet. Same joint. When you sit down, your arms sit down. Have you never noticed? You see how you're tilting to the side? Now your arm is tilting to the side because it's following the lower part of the body.
The body.
Right? Yeah. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've only got 6 joints. How many days did God create the heavens and the earth?
In
6 days. And then he gave us a resting joint, which you got a spinal cord, because God needs a body to be on one accord. So when you don't put your body on one accord, then you are already messing with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So now you hear people tell you about that song, 2 hearts that beat as one.
Yes.
But technically, because you're not reading into what they're telling you, because it's just a song, but read and listen to that song properly. 2 hearts that beat as one. God is always going to be the top. Jesus came from the womb. And when he left, he said, I'm sending you a comforter, and the comforter has to walk and talk with you. So now you've got two hearts that beat as one. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That's why the temple to God is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we have pain in our body, then you need to look back and say, what did I do? What did I eat? What am I putting in my head that is not conducive to what God has told us to put in there? Because if you don't put the right things in, you can't get the right things out.
Yeah. And so that temple, a lot of times, I mean, and that's associated, because when I came into that massage, I had a headache. I've been having a headache for the last 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so here was my temple. And you begin to tell me in reference to the temple, but that headache that sat right there because of, we may say stress, or because of like issues. It could be because of sinus issues, but all of it was sitting right here.
That's right.
And you literally, I mean, massaged my temples, I didn't know my scalp was supposed to have that kind of movement, or even my eyes, or that the reason why over my eyes it was paining was because that's where the pain goes. So many of those things we don't know, and I'm sitting up here saying, okay, it's just stress, but my body was in distress.
That's right.
It was distressed because of all the things I was going through, so I wasn't doing the right things for it at that time, which brought on that headache for those days.
And what they tell us is, when they tell you your body is stressed, they already took up the word this or D, right? Because you've got to de-stress your body because your body's already in distress.
Yes.
And when
distress, yes.
And so when you think of the word stress, you just think, oh, it's just a kid, oh, it's just a job, oh, it's just a husband, it's just this, it's just. But your body's already telling you it's in a flight or fight situation. And if you don't take care of it, when you start feeling that tightness in your chest, when you don't take care of all these issues that's going on in the body, the next thing, your body's going to come and attack you. And you don't even know why it's attacking you, why people are getting heart problems, you know what I mean? Because they're not going to tell you, you know, go and get a good massage, find somebody who can help you with your body. The first thing they automatically want to give you is a pill.
Exactly.
And the pill only covers up,
mask all of that,
what's really going on. I mean, you can take pills for years and never deal with the issue.
And if you take pills, you're generally still sick.
And you know why you said that the body was in pain? Because what you don't understand is pain becomes layers after layers. You could have been child abuse. It could have been sex trafficking. It could have been bullying. It could have been pain of a child. It could have been pain of other things. And it becomes layer and layer and layer and layer and layer. It becomes like when you're making a lasagna. And you want to put layers on.
That's right. That's right.
But the top looks good.
Beautiful.
And sometimes if you don't cook the lasagna all the way through, it will still be raw.
Yes.
So when I massage your body, basically all the pain is still raw under the skin, but the top layer looks good. And that's when you start telling people, oh, I'm good. I'm glorified and sanctified and praise the Lord. That time you're hurting. Oh my God, my back is hurting, my feet are hurting.
And that is why I did that denial detox class, was because we are in so much denial. We're always pushing and we just want the top skin to look good. It's kind of like makeup, that that cosmetic thing that covers, and it just shields you from looking the way you may really look or whatever, but it's covering, it's masking these things, and we're never dealing with it.
And that's right. And many times we don't deal with the trauma that's in the body. We're not dealing with the pain that's in the body because no one's ever taught us how to deal with the pain in the body. So as you can see, I've got all these products on here, right? And the reason why I've got all my products on here, because when I started to massage your scalp, I showed you the hairbrush. And I said, I could brush my hair all day, but I'm not moving the scalp. I'm just brushing my hair. And it feels good, but I'm not doing anything because the pain is also sitting in the scalp. And that's why a lot more people are going to get dementia and a lot more alopecia and other things that's going on in the scalp. Because if your scalp is tight on your head,
Yes.
how do you expect oxygen
To get through.
to the hair follicles?
Which is going to also, it's just like snuffing it out.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell you, well, it's the blood flow. It's not just the blood flow. The hair is literally being, those follicles are literally being snuffed out. It can't take in oxygen. Blood has an oxygen content in it. So if the oxygen is gone.
And it's not that it's gone. It's just like me saying I'm going to plant seeds. How can I plant seeds on stony ground? The Bible tells you cannot plant seeds on stony ground. So when you've got it, so if your scalp is tight, that means it's like on stony ground. So you putting anything on your scalp is just sitting there.
Yeah.
It cannot penetrate into the membrane. It cannot penetrate into the follicles because it's going onto stony ground. So your hair is never going to grow. And then when you've got all these women who used to have the weave and they used to put it in the same circle,
yes,
and then they used to have the big gaps, and no one would tell them, do a different style when you're putting your hair, because everybody wants the same hairstyle because that hairstyle looks good. You know what?
Right.
You know what we like.
Yes.
If it looks good, you want the same hairstyle. But technically, what you did was ruin your scalp. Because your scalp was never meant to have that much pressure and so much pulling, right? That's why a lot of us end up with bald patches here because the scalp has been pulled so tight. It's saying, what the hell? I'm not supposed. What are you supposed? This is supposed to be your beauty.
Yes. He said, right? Your hair is a woman's glory.
So why are you pulling my hair so tight that if my hairline is here, why is my hairline starting up here?
And we're literally just suffocating.
And you're quite happy doing it and making them do these things to you when God has already told you that your hair is your beauty. Look at Samson. He told Samson, don't cut your hair because that was his beauty.
That's right. His strength.
That was his strength was.
That's right.
So when they keep giving us all these chemicals and putting all these, relaxing your hair, doing all these things to look beautiful, what happened to your natural hair?
Which a lot of those products have metal and things.
Exactly.
And those metals, if you're washing your hair or you putting it on your hair, eventually it's going to penetrate into the scalp, into the skin. And so these metals are affecting hair in people. They just said that now braiding hair, there's plenty of, I don't have the names of the different ones that they named, but there are different braiding hair that has metal in it.
That's
and
right.
told us as women to stay away from it because those metals cause so many different things. Like the arthritis can even grow with metal and all of these things in the body. You have to have the right type of metal. But what is that? Some of it has never been tested long enough for you to really know.
And plus, you don't know where you're getting the hair from.
No.
Sometimes you see people with the hair and it's got worms in it because a person whose hair you're putting on your head because you want to look beautiful.
They had all those things.
They had all these things.
And that one little mite or whatever survived, and they multiplied like nobody's business.
And how do you know realistically it's a generational curse? It might be something that was in that hair that you put in your body that caused you a curse.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where the hair is coming from. All you want to know is that your hair looks long, it looks beautiful, it looks nice.
And something has to happen. I would say this to the women. You cannot grow up. I grew up with very thick hair. And all of a sudden, after 45 or so years, or 50 years, I began to then look at hair leaving. Because I'm 67. And my hair didn't leave me at 67. It left me over 10, 15 years ago. But all this time, I've had hair. And all of a sudden, now it's gone. That should not be.
No.
That just does not happen. What happened in those processes? And I just think women need to be really aware of the things they use, because when I started with you, I asked you to make something for my hair. I was itching. I thought it was just my eczema. It wasn't just my eczema, because the eczema that I had on my arms, I started using different things on my body that was natural, no more detergents in my soaps and all of that. I went more natural. Then I come here and everything is really natural. But I went natural and my body I stopped having to have the shots that I used to have to get for the eczema. Well, what happened to my hair? Why that didn't come back after all of this left? What was it? You see what I'm saying?
Because you had some undealt trauma that you never dealt with.
And that's very well true.
And most of us have got traumas that we don't deal with. And when it sits in our scalp, it sits there and festers and festers and keeps on festering. And then you start worrying about things that you have no business worrying about. Because if you've truly given it to God, why are you worrying about it?
Yes. You have a copy of the Serenity Prayer in the females' room.
Yes.
To accept the things that you can change.
That's right.
And one thing is to know the difference when you cannot. It's not yours to know. If God wanted you to solve it, He would have given you the answer.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. But we are fixers.
But you can't fix everything. Right? Because if we think we can fix everything, then the world would be in a different position than what it is now.
Exactly.
But we can't fix everything because it's not our job to fix everything. It's like when I had my car accident, I thought, okay, blah, 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 but I couldn't fix it. I don't even remember still about my car accident. But all I know is that God would tell me to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start fixing your body. I had to hear His voice, and I would get up, and I would get. First of all, I would only use the trauma blend and a little bit of the CBD because I didn't have this one until.
You ought to tell that one. This is what happens when you don't obey God. Okay, go ahead.
So,
obedience is better than sacrifice.
In May, God gave me this trauma blend to make up, and I said, I ain't making up no trauma blend, because I talk to God like I'm talking to all you all now, right? And I said, God, I ain't making up no trauma blend. I don't need to make up no trauma blend because I already met the CBD and I've already got the pain blend. And He kept telling me to make it up. But I wrote a book, Healing Connections, right? So I made the cover, I made the tin, didn't open the tin because I knew there was nothing inside the tin except the tin and the cover. And I said, one day I will make it up. Little did I know that I was going to be in a fatal car accident that nearly took out my life. So if you look on my shoulder here, you will see I've still got the bruising. And here on my knee, I'm going to show you, you can see all this.
And that went down to the bone, you all. I mean, the white meat was showing, and you could see where the vessels, the blood vessels, ran throughout that section of her leg. That's how deep it was. It went all the way down to the bone. And she didn't even know she had that. And while she was in the hospital, she kept saying, something is caught on my foot. And when we turned back the covers, even they had not discovered that that was there. But they put her in the bed, and they were taking all of these vitals and all of that. They had the thing on your foot.
Because I was in intensive care.
And they put the thing on your feet so that it would massage the blood flow with
I don't even know.
But they had that on there. And she kept saying, something's catching my knee. And basically it was the sheets rubbing against this sore place, and she just thought it was that. When they pulled back the covers, here's this big thing that is white all the way down to the meat. I mean, and you can see the little red blood vessels. And she didn't know. I was just like, that. Anything that goes below the second layer of the skin should have been treated completely, washed, and a wound care should have been done with it, because it went past your what they call those things in your legs, the vessels, the blood vessels, so your blood couldn't even flow completely like it needed to flow.
Well, I didn't know none of this, so people were telling me all what happened because I was in intensive care, and I had to use my own products to heal myself. Then back in about October, November, God said to me, you need to make all that trauma blend. I gave you everything that you needed to make it up, and you didn't want to make it up.
And this is after you got an infection in the knee, and the shoulder one completely healing.
And I was
obedient.
They always say obedience is better than what?
Sacrifice.
And so I made up the trauma blend because I've got a fractured skull, 2 eyes, and a jaw. So I've got a plaque in my mouth at the moment. Well, it's going to be there forever. So anyway, a medical trauma blamed. I had to be my own wound care specialist. Thanks to a lady, God sent a lady out of the blue to come and see me who was a trauma specialist. And she helped clean my legs, she helped to do, and whatever she had to do. Then I had to take care of my own wound care. And trust me, that day when I had to do it myself, trust me, it was like somebody had just slapped me in my face. I sat on that sofa like this for about 30, 40 minutes. I couldn't move because I didn't realize I've got to clean all this blood. I'm not a wound care specialist. I'm a massage therapist. I am. I thought I was going to die, having to clean my own wounds. But God would wake me up at all hours of the night to tell me, get up, start cleaning your wounds, start standing up, start moving it.
And see, I was there the day you stood up 3 days after your accident. And when you got ready to, well, 4 days after your accident, because it was that Saturday, you got ready to stand up and you said, oh, I'll be fine. And she pulled off convincing us that she was really in better shape than you really
But
were.
I didn't, because you all kept telling me that I was fine.
Well, you told us you were fine.
Because I
She
thought,
told us that.
because you all kept telling me I was laughing and joking, but I don't remember, I don't even remember seeing you all in the
And I thought you
hospital.
were crazy. At one point, I was just like, this doesn't hurt. But when you stood up, you positioned yourself and you stood there for a moment. You said, I can't take off right away. I need to stand here for a minute. And then you began to walk. But I'm looking at this wound, and I knew it was getting either infected or something. And you told me that next week it had gotten infected. That's when the lady that God sent you to help you with that came. Because I'm looking at it, ooh.
So what we're talking about was my car accident, and I know we're coming up point.
Yes, so let's get back on point.
Yes.
These things are important too.
So that's why I make all this pain cream, because all these pain creams that you see on this table has helped me towards healing my own body. You can heal your own body if you truly want to heal your own body. You know what I'm saying? People think that you can't, but you can. Recently, Katie asked me to make some things for her hair, because you, and like you said, that you had.
I have the eczema alopecia, and I've lost my hair in the crown part of my head. Yeah. And it had been slicked and completely, I mean, nothing was there. It was just slick. It was just like somebody burned it off and it was slick. There was no pores. It didn't look like any of that. But I've been using this, and for the first time, I wanted something for my head so it would stop itching, because I was digging in it and I had the little sores and things in my head from digging. But it stopped the itching. But the other thing I noticed after about 6 weeks, that I had some fuzz up there, and I hadn't seen fuzz in 15 years. So I was just like, is it trying to grow? What is it trying to do? I wasn't trying to get the growth. I just needed the itching to really stop, so that I would have. And then my hair was so brittle on the end, whereas my hair was hanging down here, begins to start snapping and breaking. When I washed it with the shampoo, I did the deep renewal shampoo. When I washed it with that, the elasticity, my hair actually had the ringlet, and it began to, you could pull it and it would bounce back, where I hadn't seen that in over 2 or 3 years before COVID.
And we've been using it on some of our ladies that have come
Oh
through.
my God, they're so shocked. The scalp can look, you know how your scalp can look just dry.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it has life in it.
She's talking about me, people.
There's one other person that's like that too, but the scalp looks dry, and when you wash it first in the shampoo, and everybody can use their own shampoo, I understand that. But when you wash it in this shampoo has no metals, no chemicals. It is oil, and it's just a clean shampoo. But when you wash it in that, the hair begins to make the scalp have its color that it's supposed to have, like blood is running through the head. And then I use the conditioner, and the conditioner can be used as a deep conditioner. You can leave it on for 30 minutes. You can go into the dryer with it. You can do all those things. You can have tinted color hair. It works on all of them. And one girl had her hair, she said she hadn't seen her waves in her hair in over 2 years. and I put the pomade and a little bit of the oil in her scalp in the areas that she said she had some breakage. And when I finished, her wave pattern began to start coming in. I just thought, what would happen if she washed and she conditioned and then do that? She'll get some of that back. So the hydration of this is amazing. And so, you know how they said in the white culture, they made VO5.
Mm-hmm.
This is the VO5. These are the VO5.
Okay.
All right. In the African American culture, this is Royal Crown, Blue Magic, and all of those kind of things. So it gives that oil to the hair. And once it touches the hand, it has so many oils in it, you all, it's amazing. Once it touches the hand, it begins to just totally break down.
Have you got any samples that they can see?
Yes,
no, this is not the sample.
Okay. And so it just completely breaks down. But you see
that's how it looks.
Mm-hmm. And when you take just a little bit of, and this can even go on the body. It's not just even designed for the hair, but you see the shine that it has. And it begins to just break down to an oil. So it goes into the hair. So it doesn't leave the hair like overly oily or any of that. But the biggest thing that got me, because I wasn't ready, and I'm still not ready, y'all, to expose my head completely. So I used it on my girl, you know? And I had one, this was one that was getting ready to be thrown away because it looked like it was fried. It looked like a bird's nest. And I put this on it, on the end, and began to straighten out. So it was better than the bio silk that you could ever use on your hair. And it actually, because when hair is off the cuticle, it doesn't absorb really oils or anything. But this nourished it like it was like a piece of furniture, and it went into this hair that's off the cuticle. Straightened it out, and now I'm wearing one that was going to be thrown away because of that. And so the serum is absolutely amazing. I put that on my scalp, and if you are wearing units, or you're wearing where you've had your hair braided or whatever, this can go on and you just massage it in your head. Now she has to show you how to massage because I've been blown away by my scalp moving like it is. But and those little things, they are nothing like what she's going to show you. But the serum is for any breakage, a lot of breakage that you may have, any itchiness. And right after you wash your hair, get it all stuff, you should put some of this on your scalp at least 2 to 3 times a week. I kind of use it daily in the crown part of my hair, and I use it on the other part more or less about 4 times a week. But the serum was amazing because the serum has all these different oils in it. But the itching ceased. So if you're having problems with itching, with breakage of hair, the elasticity returns back to the hair. And I just saw such a great demonstration. And her hair, my God, I tell you,
I know.
the gray was amazing because it takes gray and it gives gray a different type of look. It does not stay like silver white. It turns like it's amazing what it does to gray. And it gives it a healthy look, and it takes those things out. Yes.
And you know why?
And it lays it down. Yes.
It lays my hair down.
Mm-hmm. And it straightens it out. Yes.
So you can see, I just use a little bit, and it goes right into my scalp.
Yes. And you see the difference right now on her hair? How it's just laying down. And it was, I know y'all saw the ends standing up. Now, this is the funny part for African Americans. The little BB shots you have back there, it straightened my BB shots out.
See, even mine, look, made my hair straight.
Yes. And you see, because what it does, yes, it relaxes, not the hair that it just straightens it out, but it gives the hair, it's kind of like breathing. The hair begins to say, oh, okay, I can relax. I don't have to stand on the ends. And so it does a great thing for the hair. And so does the healing section. Both of them are made the same. But this one takes care of a lot of other things that you may have from eczema, alopecia, or you may have different things that are going on with your hair or with your head or your scalp. And you have like the cradle caps and all of those things. There's one person right now, I've got them using, they have cradle cap in their hair, but they also have some of it in their face. So they're using it on their face also.
Because I use this on my face.
Yeah, they're using it on their face. And they said they are beginning to see a lot of the dryness and the flakiness cease. And so it's just an excellent product, and it's a clean product.
And because I'm from England, right? I've sourced a lot of my stuff, not just from this country, from other countries, because I wanted to find out why is it that some people have long hair and it never seems to get big, thin, and some do. So I've added some of their oils,
my God,
into this product. So it's not just the biotin and the keratin. No, it's got so much products. I haven't even put all what I make and put on here because I don't want no one to steal my product. Because
and then there's no room to put it all on that little label.
You know what I mean? So there's so many different things. How many vitamins, moringa, the whole 9 yards is inside this one little jar. Realistically, this jar should cost a lot of money, but it's reasonable.
And people often ask me though. They ask all the time. So how much is this set? $500 or $600 I'm gonna have to pay? And I said, no, you'll be very surprised. It's under $100.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you're kidding. I said, with all the things that you have in here, and they began to look at the products.
Yeah.
And they said, all of these oils are in here. And I said, and more. And they said, and you say it's under $100.
Yeah.
It's a steal. But the thing that I loved about Valerie is she wanted all of us to be able to have an opportunity as women, even as men, to have an opportunity to be able to have these products in their homes, to be able to use on their children, that they can use daily and not deprive themselves of things because they feel they can't afford them. She also made them so concentrated that it doesn't take a lot of it.
You don't need that's right.
So I keep wondering, I say, now how can they make money if they can keep it 2 and 3 months?
Well, you know what? I look at it that if God gave it to me,
He's going to supply it.
He's going to supply it. Yeah. That's why I need someone who will invest in my products. Because I know that what's in these bottles that didn't come from me. Mm-hmm. When you asked me to make it up in last year, mm-hmm. and you see how long it took me to make it up.
And I didn't know you were secretly studying when you told me.
Because I'm not going to just make something up. I don't do that. Mm-hmm. I want to know what I'm doing. And because I've also got my license as a doctor in naturopathic medicine, mm-hmm. that most people don't know I've got all these things, but it's not for me to brag on Facebook to tell people what I've got, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let them see the product. Let them see God's work. Because one thing with Jesus, he never bragged about what he did. No. He was humble.
Very much so.
And so everything that you see in all my products is what God gave me, what Jesus gave me, what the Holy Spirit gave mm-hmm. me. Because I could never have made up none of these products on my own. That's why it's called Nobody But God, Essence of the Divine. That's why it's called that. And now someone said to me, well, I might need to take God off the product. But if I take God off the product, that means I'm denying God. And I cannot deny God because he was the one, after my car accident, he was the one that kept me. Because technically, I should be dead.
You should be. You were left laying on the ground for dead.
I was there. When I saw that dog come around my head, I said I would have been the first one running down that road like he was going out of fashion, but I didn't. And that's why I have to keep my name Nobody But God. And you don't want to buy it, you don't have to buy it because it's got Nobody But God. If you don't want to believe in God, don't believe in God, but you're going to have to believe in something.
Or just, if they're atheists, it's just act like there's another symbol or something. It's an NBG, whatever they want to make that.
Just like how you say that if you say, thank God it's Friday.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They just can do that. But the other thing that was amazing to me, because you went so deep, Lord, I'm telling y'all, this massage is something else. I don't feel the pain now.
No.
And all of these things, she used 3 of them. And, I'm always thinking about new products. So I told her now she needs to do the trauma blend, the Valerie pain blend, and the CBD. She needs to make a product that entails have all 3 of those in there. See, because that way I don't have to keep mixing. I could just do that every time.
You know why I don't do that is because some people don't want CBD.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Although today, because I knew I
But
was
you
going
have
to.
50%, so 50% is more than enough.
Yeah, so if they want it, they can buy all three. They can mix and match it however they want, and they can go on and mix it up if however they want to go on and mix it up. But the trauma blend is what God gave me separately from the pain blend. If you wanted me in the pain blend, you would have told me just add these oils to your pain blend. You didn't have to tell me to do that.
Well, trauma
Right?
is in pain.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to consult God on that one, y'all.
Well, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But some people might just want to use a trauma blend.
Yes.
And some might just want to use the pain blend cream because it's got different properties. It's got different. Each one of these have got different
properties. So why in the world did you use all three? You can't make
Why?
one product that has
because
all
I
three
only
in it.
recently started to do all three because
No, but it works so well. I sleep so well. I don't have the pain that I had before. And I mean, I took tramadol. I had hydrocortisone, all of these different things I was taking, and Tylenol. I was taking Tylenol at least 6 to 9 tablets a day that I don't even take now. And then after this massage, I don't feel that I would have, my back doesn't, you all just don't know. I'm sitting here still amazed at how my body feels and then the movement that my body has. And I know that I have to come back. See, we want to do things one time and expect a miracle. That is not how things work, women. We have got to be able to understand that the body will go back to its original state because it's not used to having this done to. That's why it hurts so bad in the first place. So we've got to train it just like you train a child, and you say you're going to train this childlike body that has gotten in this worst state so that when it grow older, it won't depart from what it's been trained to react and to do. So we've got to do these things for our bodies, and we've got to take care of ourselves. And we've got to look at what's going to work for us without all of these chemicals, without all of these side effects that we have. These have no side effects unless you just absolutely allergic to one particular type of thing that we can't take care of it. It's the oil, but you can't take that. If you're allergic, you're just allergic to that. But I'm talking about stuff that's left behind, the residue. This may have this side effect. Have you ever watched TV and they tell you about a new medication?
Yes.
And they talk real fast, and then they talk about all the things that could happen. And one of the things you hear,
diabetes,
and sudden death.
Yeah, you still want to put it in your mouth, even though it's going to cause you sudden death. And then all of a sudden now you want to sue them. They already told you what it's going to do to you.
And they do those things to cover themselves, so you can't get any money. So at Liberty, they set it up for you to take your life because they know someone's going to die in the process.
That's right.
They know it. And they got it already fixed, and you cannot sue.
And you know, like how you said your body was in pain, you didn't even know that your elbow was supposed to rotate.
Never have ever known that.
You didn't know you were supposed to rotate. No, and that's where we get it wrong, because all we want to do every day is cell phone, food, computer, driving. Now it's Siri, turn the light on. Alexa, now the arms aren't doing anything. And then we all want to get to heaven. And when Jesus said, take my arm. Oh my God.
You can't move it.
You can't even read.
They got limited movement.
So where do you think you're going to go if you can't even take the master's hand?
And you've seen that painting where that hand reaches out, and his hands reach out.
That's right. But it doesn't reach. It's always over. Because if he said, take my hand, and he's up there in the sky, and you've got to take his hand, you've got to be able to take his hand.
And I see so many broken people, they can't move.
That's
their
right.
Hands, their backs are messed up, all these things. And
the fingers are bent over, but yet you use your fingers every single day because your fingers and your hands are not even getting what God has told you to do. These are the master's hands.
And I've had people to tell me that, oh, my hand's not going to do that. And I didn't know the hands were supposed to be able to do that.
Look, Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Again.
Father,
literally,
Son, Holy Spirit. So if your hands can't do the three, then you better start doing something about it. Because if you have any pain up here, that's all your chest and your heart and your lungs. Anything from here in your guts, that's the only living part of the body. Did you not know that? Your gut is the only living part of the body.
Explain that.
Where did Jesus come from?
The womb. So it has life. It carries.
It carries the life.
And it's also the part that has
that's
no bones protecting.
That's right. That's why you have the umbilical cord, because Jesus was living off that umbilical cord. It's only this is the life of the body. You don't even see God. No one's never seen God apart from Moses.
Yes.
Right?
He shows the backside.
Yeah. What you see all up here, you don't see God. You see down here, you don't see the Holy Spirit. Because they're the two, the living beings, but you've never seen the Spirit. The only one that could ever live was Jesus, because he came from the womb.
Wow. Amazing.
You see what you get it now? That's why all the disease doesn't happen here. You can get a broken heart.
And still.
With everything happens here. So that's why Jesus said, you cannot get to the Father unless you come through me. So when you've got a diseased stomach, you cannot get to the Father, because everything else is going to be diseased and it's going up.
And it's amazing because one of the fatal places for a gunshot, a stab wound, is in the gut area, in the stomach area. There's no bones, there's nothing, but all of this is the living part, so you can take life there easily.
That's right.
Or headshot, to this. It's just amazing. It makes so many things come to life that you don't really look at in life. It's held in subliminal messages that you miss.
That we miss?
Yeah.
That's why the waistline is called waist, for waste to leave the body. That's why the sole of your feet is called soul, because that's what you walk on every day. You're walking on the soul. When you get up in the morning, first thing you do is your feet have to touch the ground. When it touches the floor, you look like you're in pain. Have you ever got a pain? Oh, my feet are killing me.
Yes, I got it this morning. Right? But I don't have no pain.
You understand what I'm saying? Because it's letting you know something else is going on in the body. If your little toe hurts you, you know you're going to get some shoulder pain.
So I want them to really hear this, because this is something I did not know. You know how you said, well, my back is hurting me. And she said, so you're having some pain in your feet and in your leg, or there's pain there and you don't know that it's there, because you're only concentrating on the back pain. Or if you have knee pain, you haven't considered that there's pain down in your ankle or your heel, because you haven't considered that. And your back is bothering you, and you have no idea that the back is even associated because of the knee. And we separate those. Well, I got back pain or I got knee pain, and not realizing all of them are playing off of each other.
That's right, because it's letting you know something's wrong, right? Like when I just gave you your massage, your hip was out. And because your hip was out, everything in the leg was out.
And I couldn't understand why my back was slightly hurting me and all this. And I didn't think I had anything going on with my hip,
Until I touched it.
Oh my God. She almost brought me off the table, because I was just like, and it didn't just leave right away. I mean, you have to work that out.
That's right.
And it was painful. She had said these words like, give me 10 seconds, and 10 seconds can be a long time when you're touching a spot that want to make you jump off the table. But if I had to do this all the time to feel like I feel right now, it's nowhere in the world. And I believe just because I have the opportunity to also work with them as one of her assistants. And so in that process, my thing is, I believe that a person is worthy of their hire. So she's going to have to give me we're going to set up a discount rate for employees.
Yes, I'm going to do a discount rate for employees.
Good. So when we have a discount rate, because she's in deserving, because it's hard work. And I just couldn't believe the shape of my body. I really thought I was in pretty decent shape.
But you see how your chest has now come down?
Yes. If y'all have what I have,
but
my chest is usually up here in my face. But I didn't know that it could hang down there. You remember I told you? I said, oh, Valerie, I have to have this because this stands up in my face.
No, because one, we wear the wrong bras. Two, they don't tell us about cleaning the lymphatic system under the armpits.
I know we have lymphatic.
Right? Because that's why when somebody gets breast cancer, that's why they take the lymph nodes out of the armpit. When they take out those lymph nodes, you better make sure your hips are in good standing order.
Because you definitely gonna need to clean down.
That's right, because now everything has got to drain down to the groin. When they take out your lymph nodes all around your neck, starts getting tight. That's why you notice a lot of cancer people will tell you that you notice they lose their hair and everything because it's now getting tight. Everything up here is getting tight, and it's going back into the scalp, right? So now you've got to be doing a lot of cleaning out of the throat, so the thyroid don't start flaring up. So your head should be able to control.
Well, mine wouldn't move all the way like that, you know. My body did. If I look.
Because most people that turn like this, but it's not. Your head's supposed to turn without your body turning. But people don't know this.
I know that they turn.
And that's why I had to clean out your scalp.
Yeah.
Because your scalp's supposed to move like this all the time. Your scalp don't move, you better get that scalp moving. Right?
Yes, it moves.
Your scalp doesn't move.
It doesn't move. I guess it's supposed to move.
Yeah.
But who knows that? I have not had a hairdresser, cosmetologist, or anyone tell me that my scalp is supposed to move.
When I work on my ladies, whether black, white, it doesn't matter what nation they are, I have those whose scalp are so tight that they're losing their hair and they don't understand why. And I said, can you not see that your scalp is too tight? And because the hair follicles can't grow in something that's tight.
And see, they talk a lot, women, about the blood flow and everything for alopecia and all of that the blood has stopped flowing. But the blood actually has to have oxygen in it to literally do what it needs to do. So if you take the oxygen out of it, there's a good reason why your hair is not there. It's not just the blood. There's an oxygen level.
Throw seeds onto a stone, then throw water onto those seeds that are just falling onto stone. Throw in whatever you said you use, biotin or keratin and all the rest. Throw it on, and tell me if you think those seeds are going to grow.
So we're here to see.
It's never going to grow because it hasn't got no nourishment because it's so tight. But you throw those same seeds onto soil that moves. Why do you think God created those sides of dust?
Yes. Or he said, till the land. Tilling is breaking up the land.
That's right.
So that it's not so hard and compact.
Exactly.
You break it up. So if you're planting plants, you break up the soil.
And that's why you see you can see I lose my scalp piece.
Yes.
You can see I can pull my scalp. You can see my jaws are loose. I can move my mouth, considering I couldn't move it when I had the accident. I was determined I was going to get it to move because that oxygen from here has got to go to my scalp and then it's got to go to the left side of my body for it to leave out of my body. But if all this is tight, and anybody out there who's got tightness here in the scalp, you better take out that tightness because that's the temple of God. That means oxygen isn't going up into your scalp. You see my scalp? You see how I can pick it up with my fingers? How many of you can pick up your scalp with your fingers?
I don't know. I'm supposed to be. And see, that was the problem. Some people that have had this, they've got their hair braided and it's braided so tight, they braided that part of the scalp up in there. And you shouldn't have to braid your hair that tight for it to hold together. Because if it's moving, it will adjust itself. And so sometimes when you're pulling like that, that's why it starts snapping and breaking off, because the scalp is not moving at all. And you're literally trying to pull it to move, and it has no movement. Yeah. And those things are funny, but I do want them to know this. This product is not made for just African American women, and just because we are sitting here, I want you to understand that this product was made for women that have hair, because the things that are in here are about women from all over the world. When she was doing the research for it, that I didn't know. She researched in areas all across the world, not just on this continent, but other continents, to see why this group of people hair stayed this way or why that group, and found out those things in those countries that worked. And God gave her the formula of how much of each to use. And that's the real key. What is the formula for how much each is to use?
You know what I mean? Because most people don't even know that avocado is good for the hair, right? There was rice oil. There's oils that you're not even going to even think about, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's even black seed oil inside here. There's even cactus. Why would you put cactus in an oil, right? Because you're not thinking about those things. But I thought about all the oils. And then when I thought,
and cactus, basically, it holds water. Hydration completely to the hair. You can get the hydration to stay into there. The hair doesn't snap.
So
it's amazing, you all.
That's why I wanted to do this show for you today. Yes, my hair is a mess. You won't see it like this next time I'm on the show. But I just didn't want to do it because I just wanted to show you all that your scalp is supposed to move. It's supposed to come off the bone. Every body part is supposed to be off the bone. Your skin is skin. Your bone is bone. Your ligaments, your tendons, your veins, your arteries, they're all separate and not all supposed to be stuck to the bone. When you stick things to the bone, try undoing something that is stuck to the bone. That's why your massage is so painful. Mm-hmm. Was because everything was stuck to the bone and it couldn't move. So oxygen couldn't flow through your body. But that's why now you're not going to feel any pain, right? Because now your body is getting oxygen, it's getting oxygenated.
And I mean, my back was hurting, I had a headache, all of these things when I came in. And even my ankle, what they said had this. I was telling Valerie that my from the big toe to the next toe, I was having problems with it kind of curving, and it was touching the top of the boot. It now does not touch the top.
I remember on Saturday I said I had a dream.
That's the truth. She sent us a text, and she said, she said, I had a dream about you and your sister. One of you all are having problems with your shoulder, and she said there's something going on with basically the right side, with your ankle and with the foot. And I said, that's me. And Say came by, and she said, what did Valerie say? And I read the message to my sister, and she said, it's my shoulder. And so we both were dealing with those particular pains here. And the shoulder spiritually represents, basically, it deals with the weight that you carry, how strong you are to hold up something. Shoulders represent foundation. And so I'm sitting here, my foundation is on a blink.
And that's why I said that I need to give you a massage. And I put my name on the books to give her a massage, because if I'd have put her name, you should have probably found some excuse.
I would have had an excuse, yes. I've been having an excuse for almost a year now.
And I said no, because God has already told me I've got to give her a massage. And that's why today we're doing this show. Because He told me specifically she has got to get a massage. Because if she doesn't get one, her body's going to keep going down. And I have to be obedient. And so that's what I did. But I would like to thank you all for tuning into our show. This is our first one since my accident. And I hope I did well today.
Yes. I always say we're going to brag. We're going to be like Dave. We're going to pat our own selves on the back. But I would just like to say I thank you for the massage, because now I understand more of really what you do. It's one thing to see a few things, and I always thought it was a miracle, the things that I've already seen. But to experience all of that and then feel like I feel now is totally different. Not having the headache, not having those things. And I just felt, when you start feeling pain, you get depressed.
You do.
And you fight hard to stay above water. You really do. And so I feel better. I feel the joy. I just feel lighter. I feel lifted. And so I thank you for that.
Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing me to show you what I actually do in the room. So for you to get a better understanding. So when somebody asks you about what I do, You see the miracles when people step out of the room.
Yes.
I wanted you to experience what God has given me and what they get. So now you can go back and tell somebody else, but you can't tell people something if you don't experience.
Yes. And I want you all out there, when you see this, to consider us for a donation. Some of the women that come in, one of the girls that I said her waves had not come back in. We want to be able to even donate these products to them. Some of them are on such fixed incomes like SSI or SSDI. That's if some of these things don't move or change. But they're on these type of things. They, no matter what price we have done them for, they can't afford it. You know how much living is and all of those costs. Right now, currently, Valerie takes care of all her massages, takes care of the foundation side, where we're trying to help women that have gone through trauma, teaching them skills so that they can have a way to make money and supply their own care for their own homes and all of that. And so because of that, we need those that believe in helping others. I know that it's a time that everybody is in a selfish mode, but I kind of cancel that assignment because God says an open hand is open to be able to receive. So if you need tax write-offs, we are a great, good soil to invest in. And so we would love for you to invest in that and help some of the women that are there. Get these products for yourself, for your family, your children coming up. A lot of you all braid your daughter's hair and they're 4 and 5 years of age. They need something like this on it before you start putting all of those things in it. You're having pain in your knees and in your back with some of the things that we have to do. This is our pain care. We also, she didn't say anything about the sinus blend, the sinus and chest congestion relief. It has the eucalyptus in it, but this really opens up the chest. I put this on because I generally don't breathe but through one nostril. So if you have any sinuses and you have, and you just want to breathe clearly, this is excellent for that.
Before she's telling you about the sinus relief, that's also got things for vertigo, headaches, anxiety.
My goodness.
It's not just for sinuses.
Now see, because I'm a counselor, when you have anxiety, you start to pant, you don't breathe.
So that's why I put all that in there.
My goodness.
People, that it's not just for sinuses.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you'll see me usually put some on the temple, under your nose, and round on your forehead, and round the back of the head. Usually that's where I would put it all, because it's not just for sinuses.
And I put some on my my little nephew. He's about 2 months old, and I put it on his chest because he has this rattle, and across his nostril. He slept for 5 hours, which he has not done since he's been in this world for these 2 months.
So yeah, so it's got a lot of other things, you know what I mean? But like I said, I don't tell everybody what I put in my things, because I don't want no one to go and replicate my product.
No, because God gave it to you.
Yes.
For a reason. You know, He wanted you to be able to be cared for. He wanted you to be able to build. See, because there's a certain apostle type of anointing in your life. You're a builder. You build things. Every time I turn around here at Purple Light Touch, we're always either changing something or redoing something. Always. It's always a new setup we're just doing. But you're a builder, and you build people, and you build not only businesses. And so I just would like for you all to send in your donations when you see this. Nothing is too small. Little in the master's hand becomes much. But there are you out there that have, what kind of income they have?
Residual.
Yes. Send in greater and take up for the ones that may have little, like the Willis Mike. I just wanted to let them know.
Thank you for coming in on my show today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad, and we're going to do more of these together, because we're going to talk about some of the books that we've written, some of the things that take place in here, because people need to know the real truth. This is what the show was about.
Yes.
That's why it's called Don't Believe the Hype. Stop believing the lies that people tell us that we are beneath. We are not the head. We are not the tail. We are supposed to be the head.
Exactly.
And there's no reason why. That's why God says we are not the tail. We are the head, because He knows the importance of keeping the head clear.
Better believe it. That's why this show is called Unveiled.
Yes.
The truth of the body and the head.
And so make sure that you all, if you want to know more about what we do here and you want me to teach you how to massage your scalp, you can come in, call us, 817-350-9457. That's the LLC side. The foundation side is 817-350-0444. Come in and we would love to teach you how to self-care and take care of the body of Christ. Thank you, and all have a wonderful and blessed evening, and we will see you back next week on another show with another amazing